What's going on, guys? This is the You Are Here podcast. My name's Mike.
My name's Dave.
And we have a very special guest today, Jim Parrack.
Yes.
I think it's only right because Dave.
Oh, yeah.
You know Jim personally.
I sure do.
So if you could introduce him.
Totally. So right here we got an extremely talented actor, a mentor of mine, my mentor, my teacher, and just all around good person that I have in my life and I'm grateful for. And his name is Jim Parrack. So let's clap it up for Jim Parrack, everybody.
Thank you, Dave. That was sweet, man.
Yeah, man. It's the truth. It's the truth.
Yo, we just appreciate you coming on, man, for real.
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Super awesome.
I listened to the one you guys did with Tori.
Yeah.
When you asked me to do it, I listened to the one just to get a feel for it.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good.
Just keep it there. Don't say nothing else, dude. Just good. And that's enough.
I'll tell you why it's good.
For real?
No, I don't know.
No.
I like about it. Well, I think she was interesting.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
It was cool. It was cool to hear somebody I know being interviewed by somebody I know, and then getting to know you, kind of.
Yeah, for
painting
sure.
a picture, but I thought you guys had worthwhile conversation.
Cool, man.
That's big.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks for listening. How long we known each other now?
Almost 4 years. I think we met July 2015.
Yes.
Yeah.
I met Jim at an interview for the school. So Jim started a school, and I was fresh out of a school, just looking. I told you the story. I already
And
talked.
that's at what school?
This was
Playhouse?
Playhouse.
West,
yeah,
right?
in Brooklyn when it was running. And he was holding interviews for future classes, and I pulled up because I was fucking just losing my mind because I couldn't find a place where I could learn how to act.
Yeah.
Like, you always get told, like, you know, about good actors and like, look at what good acting looks like, but you're not given like tools to fucking do it.
Yeah.
And so I was really desperate, and it just happened to, like, I caught one of your posts about the interview, and just like opening up the doors to come in, and I showed up, and I was like over the moon excited. Like, you know, he was talking about the school and Andrea, and like they were both kind of talking about what they were going to do, and it was very like matter of fact and passionate and exciting, and we had to like individually go up and like speak to him and Andrea.
Yeah, because we talked about it in, like, I think it was the first or
Yes,
second
yeah,
episode. We
yeah.
talked about the whole story.
Yeah.
Listen to that if you haven't.
Yeah.
But like the whole thing, like, it kind of started from Jim here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For
gave
me,
you the chance,
for
you
me,
know?
for me. Yes. That's exactly what it was like. It was like
like to you, I feel like
I'm giving you an opportunity. Like, I could see, he said, I could see you care. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh, yeah, very well.
I'm fucking crying my eyes out, and I'm like, just give me a fucking chance, man. I swear to God, I'm gonna do everything I can. And he's like, I see you care. Like, wasn't phased. Like,
Yeah.
see you care, but you gotta show up. I know you care, but you have to show up. Like, you have to commit.
Yeah, man.
This is gonna take a lot of commitment. And ever since that day, dude, been committed to this fucking thing.
Yeah, it's
Hell yeah,
easy to
man.
like you. Right from the beginning.
That's
You're just very open and honest.
man.
And
It's like
Thanks,
a ray
dude.
of light, man.
yeah,
That's how you are.
it was moving.
Were you like, this kid's fucking a little over the top?
No, because it wasn't put
was-
on, and like, I think you also seemed a little self-conscious about being that emotional.
Fuck yeah.
So like, if you had been maybe promoting that you cared so much, you wouldn't have been self-conscious.
You would've-
also.
yeah.
And so it was very endearing and sweet, and I think it was like you maybe unable to contain what a lot of people feel when they get when the thing that they want but maybe they haven't been able to articulate for themselves is in sight. Suddenly they get really moved, and most people have had a moment like that, but
Yeah.
I don't know if most people meet at that moment.
Right.
So
Right.
it was an interesting way.
Yeah, I guess it was.
That
Now
was
I
the
think about it.
first point of contact was you having that moment.
Straight desperation. Straight like I'm drowning and please like save me.
That's not how I recall.
That's how I felt, dude.
Okay, I believe you. I totally believe you. That part I didn't see.
Yeah.
You felt desperate, but what were you desperate for?
I was desperate to because I always wanted to know, like, a how. Like, I wanted to know, because up until that point, it's just like, I know I want to act.
Yeah.
I want to tell stories. how I didn't have. I needed like some kind of tangible
And
thing.
you were talking about how people were like turning you down, like everywhere you were going,
or teaching me things
Yeah.
that I can't use. You know, things that they weren't my language. I didn't have a tool belt. And for 2 years, this guy and another person taught me. You know, Andrea Dante. Sorry, I'm gonna shout you out. Shout out,
Andre. Yeah.
Taught me how to act, but it took a lot of commitment, like he said.
Yeah.
It took a lot of fucking commitment. And yeah, man, that's why I'm just eternally grateful. Because like that was the first time and the only time that someone did that for me. And gave me like I wouldn't have anything I've done if that hadn't happened. For real. I'm being honest.
Who knows, man?
It's the truth.
Who knows? But
For
I'm
me,
glad it happened.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's how we met.
That was it.
Yeah.
Almost 4 years ago.
Almost 4 years ago.
That's crazy.
Jim's been acting for, how long have you been acting for professionally?
You got to get into that, man.
He's got a million questions.
Yeah, I got a whole list.
I think I know that my first professional job was I started on September 22nd, 2004.
You're really good with dates, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a mild kind of autism.
You remember dates very well.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. Always? Forever? Since you were a kid?
When did that start? I think I liked history books a lot
Okay,
when I was young.
Yeah.
And my dad was like a history major in college, and I don't know what it is. There's something about date. Maybe dates have something to do with story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's like the setting.
Yeah.
It's like a really specific setting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
maybe
There's some people though that just have
that's
that
it.
like they remember the exact time, exact day, you know, and they always have it in their head,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I feel pretty handy with timelines.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've been doing it for since that day.
For
That
a
was
minute,
the first
man.
day they rolled camera and my job was to be there, and then
Wow.
they paid me.
Wild.
Yeah. It was cool.
Dude.
I
can't
remember
imagine.
exactly what it was. Exactly.
What was it?
Nothing to say. Just it was a scene where a bunch of guys were getting off of work at a shipyard, and me and my buddy had our lunch pails and this and that, and we were supposed to just walk out, and we did one, and then my friend, who was an experienced actor, who was James Franco, said, "Let's do another one."
You ever heard of him,
And
Mike?
let's just play.
Nah, man, never.
around. And we goofed off, and then later we were talking about how it felt good.
Yeah.
And then later he was like, "I'm worried. Did we goof off the way they get off of work in The Deer Hunter?"
Oh.
And the answer was like, "Yeah, we
Yeah,
did."
yeah.
Because there's something that happens when you watch these things and absorb it.
Yeah.
So like the first time was, I remember very specifically, first take ever was full of, there's the camera, blah, blah, blah. And it was stressful,
Yeah.
and nothing happened.
Right.
And then the next was, let's do something, and it was full of life, but it was clear later that maybe that had been informed by something we had seen before and
Right.
looked up to.
Right.
And I just watched that a few weeks ago, and like, just the draping over each other and the pails swinging and the shooting the shit and breaking balls. And it's like, yeah, if you've seen that movie and you're a young guy,
Yeah.
now you're supposed to get off of work from your shipyard job or whatever, you're probably going to do it like that.
For sure.
Without even trying to, you're probably going to just do what you've seen.
Well, you're influenced, like, you know, it's no surprise. Like, you're influenced by the people you admire in acting a bit. You know what I mean?
think there's no getting around it.
Especially
Yeah.
early on. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to be you at first. I think I told you a major breakthrough for me was I reached out to him like 3 or 4 months into training. I'm like, and I had this fucking revelation after class. I think I like blew it. I had like a shitty activity, and I was like pretending to be something, not really in the circumstance, and not doing anything for real. And I sent him a message on the way home, like, dude, I get it. I think I get it. He must have thought I was crazy. But I was like, it's not about being like Marlon Brando, who I admire and love, who I look up to.
Yep.
It's about being like the best Dave present that I can be.
Yeah.
forget. Like, that was such like a breakthrough.
Dude, I think that happens though, man. I think anytime people are learning things that are valuable to them.
Yeah.
Like I've had instances outside of a class environment, but let's say I'm learning something from people who maybe are trying to teach me how to live well.
Right.
Right? And we'll read something and it'll say, the reason you stumble is you're fearful. And the reason you're fearful is you know it's outside of your control. And I'll go, yeah, we read it. And then somebody will say it to me and I'll go, yeah. And then you'll hear another guy a few days later talk about it and you'll go, right. And then you'll read it again. And you'll even tell somebody I read this today. And then all of a sudden one day you go, I know why I'm so scared all the time. It's because I don't have any persuasion over what happens here. It's out of my control. And like, that's why I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And you call the guy who showed you all this and say, dude, guess what I just figured out? I just learned that. The reason he goes, yeah, okay. No shit. That's what I've been saying to you for the last 6 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's how people learn sometimes.
It takes you a while to get around to understanding that.
I'm a slow learner.
Same.
I think I understand quickly and learn slowly.
Yeah, yeah.
And like Carl Jung has this saying that's a nightmare. Can we curse on this?
Yeah.
It's a motherfucker
sure.
of a saying because of how true it is. It's something to the effect of you don't come to new consciousness except by way of pain.
Right on.
Right?
Wow.
So some guy saying to you, hey man, it's you, not actor you in the situation, didn't hurt.
Yeah.
You went up and tried to maybe be Marlon Brando you. I'm just throwing out a name.
Yeah, yeah.
And you got embarrassed and it hurt.
Yeah.
And you went, well, what's the alternative to that pain?
Exactly.
What if I was in it?
Yeah.
And then you reported back to me like, hey, I've got an idea. What if I was in it? It's like, yeah, that's the lesson.
Yeah, yeah.
But it didn't come to you except by pain.
Yeah.
That's a horrible true thing. I think it's a truism that's terrible. And he's got another truism that I think runs alongside that, which is it's something I'm not trying to butcher Carl Jung, but it's something like the thing you need most will be found in the place you're least willing to look.
Oh yeah.
It's like, okay. How
yeah,
about fuck you? Just leave me alone,
Yeah.
man.
I'd rather just
Just let me
that.
fester.
Yeah.
You know, like just leave me alone.
Rush right past that.
Fuck do you know?
Fuck.
And that's another one of those. It's like I may not like it, but that seems to have been the case in my life thus far.
Yeah, yeah.
If I need something, it's right where I'm not willing to look.
Did you find that in your training too? Like when you were in school?
Oh yeah.
Like you could be told a thing a million times, but until you find it your own way.
Like as I'm hearing it, I'm thinking of the shortcut.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
As I'm hearing it, I'm thinking about cutting a deal with it. So like my teacher would be giving a principle, and I'd be going, "That's a good one. I could mold that to my liking by doing this or that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like very natural, like instinct kind of. I feel like I do
for
that
sure.
too.
For sure. Like someone tells you to do
Yeah,
something a certain
yeah.
way, and you're like, yeah, sure.
And you're quick
Get
to be
out
like,
of here.
yeah, that's what I'm getting from that.
Yeah, yeah.
But then like when it comes to practice, you're like, you just fuck
let
it
me
up.
make
Find
it.
it your
Let
own
me
way.
make it better. So my teacher would say some really simple thing, and I'd be like, "I bet I can make it better."
Yeah. It's
Before I ever try it,
Yeah,
I was already
Yeah.
saying, I made the mistake of learning as if learning depended upon what I liked or disliked.
Yep.
right.
So if I didn't like it, I would change it and expect to have still learned.
Yeah.
Which doesn't work
I
that
feel
way.
like
a lot
I feel
of
like
faith.
I've done that in my life so much,
Have you really?
and yeah, I don't know why. Because I always like, even just like when I've been in a lot of like car crashes,
Yeah.
and it's always like, let's say like my parents telling me like, oh, like don't work like, 2 jobs and then go out after and do all this shit, and then like, that's just like one example, but like
Yeah, just
it's always
parents
something
being
where I'm like, no, dude, I'm good. I'm working hard. I'm fucking, I got this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
And then I just fuck it up.
Yep.
And I get in a crash.
Yep.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they tell me something, or someone else tells me something, and then I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. I take a little bit, and then I just fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's life. I guess I'm learning through it,
learning the hard way.
But yeah, that's been my like upbringing. It's like I learned the hard way.
You run into the wall. You burn your
I
hand on
learned
the
the hard
stove.
way.
Like
Yeah.
you're the guy. I mean, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
It takes so much faith too to like be told like trust us.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be 2 years.
Especially in this world, man.
But listen, like the first time you're working, you're like, you stand over there, I'm over here, and I'm just gonna say one thing about something I see. Like you're wearing a black shirt, and you're just gonna respond to me exactly what I said to you, and then like, all right, good job, sit down. You know what I mean? And it's just like, trust us. If you do this work and trust where we're taking you, at the end of 2 years, it's all gonna make sense. But we can't tell you yet. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It's hard. It's hard. It seems it's hard, I think, to correlate between that dumb little thing and the thing that you admire and the actors that make you want to be an actor. So it's like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Maybe I could spice it up a little.
Yep.
Make
Spice it up.
make it brilliant.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And because you just don't know, the point of it yet.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah.
You don't see how it could have anything to do with why you showed up.
Yeah. And you're not.
Right,
Yeah.
like,
exactly.
yeah.
This is not. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to. But that's why I'm so grateful for it, because it was like a slow and painful, rewarding process. Like there was
man.
you can't jump the line. You can't like expect to just get it.
That's a reality.
You really have to go through. For maybe not for everybody. For this guy, that's what it took.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, I heard you and Tori talking the other night about something that I thought like, oh man, if there's confusion about that, I did a poor job. The issue was, it sounded like she was saying, and you were saying, like, we were taught, if you're not grinding away at your acting until you die, until it takes life out of you and you stumble to the pillow and then you sleep for 14 minutes and you wake up and bleed acting until you die, that you're somehow demonstrating the fact that it's not important to you, right? That you're a bad actor or something.
Right.
And I thought, Jesus, if I taught them that, that's really terrible. And then I thought, well, here's what I do know, that, and I tried to be clear about it. For the 2 years and the only 2 years we were going to do that dance together, that was also the place to put as much care in as possible and prepare yourself for the reality of the business, which is, we don't care if you've slept, if you're busy, what's going on in your social life, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so and I tried to think back and was going, I think I was pretty clear that I kept saying, for a time, it won't always be this way. It doesn't always have to be this way. And when I heard that maybe you guys were having a tough time letting that go, I thought maybe I should say that.
Word. Yeah.
Just because, it can't be, I don't know any one thing that a person will have a good life if it's what they do to the point where that thing beats them down every day.
Yeah. And what are you doing?
But while you're training, in the same way, like if a fighter were training, they act stupid about it. They train to the point where life sucks because of training almost.
Yeah.
So they can go out and get the result that they want elsewhere. And 2 years seemed reasonable. And then after that, I guess people are kind of on their own to figure out the balance part of it. But
that's exactly what it is. And you absolutely would say, I remember, like, for a time. And I think it just becomes, for that program, it just became like a second nature kind of thing, where when it's over, there's this like, oh shit moment. There's nothing to fucking go back to now. You're out. You gotta make it work for yourself. No one's giving you anything. But now you have tools. The hard thing is to like use those. I have trouble using those tools in a healthy way. Not overexerting, not pushing my limit, being physically healthy. Doing something is sometimes hard for me. So it's finding balance. It's gonna be just like the training was. It's gonna take time. To do it in a healthy way for Dave. But that place was specifically for training.
And also there was a task at hand that you could exhaust yourself doing.
Absolutely.
And then you get free of training and you're kind of on your own, right?
Absolutely. There's no
and to merely run around exhaustively in the name of fidelity to your art. is
it's a slippery slope.
It's foolish.
Yeah.
Right. It's foolish because it doesn't get you anywhere near to where you want to be.
And that's
it just
another
it just
lesson.
chops away at your life. But it was easy when there was, hey, go work on that thing now.
Oh man.
And here's some feedback to go work on that thing. But like you get out and I miss my teachers so much, man, and I miss being taught so much, and I miss being in class so much. Yeah, straight up.
Shout out Bob Carnegie.
It's a hard shout out. Like
yeah.
to this day, you know, I started training with him 14 or 15 years ago. I moved here 5 years ago. I was with him for like 8 years. And there's not like a week that doesn't go by that I don't just wish I could pick up something and go in front of my teacher and work and be told, go change this, go work on this. Or to be told my God, you've gotten so sloppy and silly.
Yeah.
Or just be told, nice job, man. Like, you know what to do, whatever. But just to get in front of somebody that was there to give me feedback.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like at some point it wasn't to teach me the things that changed my life. Like that came early and it took a while. And then at some point it was just to give some sort of feedback. And there was a contract of, I'll come try what's now part of how I do things. And whatever you say, I'm going to trust.
Yep.
You know, no matter how many years have gone by,
Yeah,
I still very, very often with a script or something will just, without even like deliberately saying what would Bob say, there's just a shift to his voice, his perspective, him almost talk like the way I talk to myself is almost like he's talking to me about it. And it's awesome. Yeah, it's cool. And then when you get out on your own, it's like figure it out.
Yeah. When you're fresh out, when you're, you know, I'm going through it now a bit. Does that feeling of like ever, you know, like I might one day wake up and all the shit that I learned and we were talking about this, I think, on the podcast too, where I was just having a conversation about it with Tori or something. But all the shit that I learned, sometimes I have a feeling where like, but today I lost it. It's gone.
Oh yeah.
Do you ever have that feel like all your experience just ghosted on you?
Totally.
And I won't be able to do this. I'm for real. I'm serious. Some days I sense that, and then it's like I hear his voice or Andre's voice, and it's like,
man,
focus on the other person. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Focus on the other person.
Yeah.
And then you have a series of tools to go from there. So it's fear. It's actually just a fear, which is not tangible. And then you're given, thank God, tools that you've used over time and learned how to use that say like, okay, this is how you deal with that. But that feeling's so fucking real, man.
Yeah. And my mind, that feeling is real, and mine gets coupled with this voice that's merciless, man.
Yeah.
Because it tells me, like, not only have you lost it, but it starts saying, look back, isn't it a joke that you thought you ever had it?
Oh, wow. That's the evolution.
And then it punctuates it with, like, and you're done, dude. Oh. And your best moment was a non-moment. You're just crazy, and you thought you were onto something. Yeah. You fool.
You were going.
You fool.
And I'm like, I just need Bob to just be like, good job, man. Go do this.
Yeah.
Because I have so much admiration, and he gave so much, man. That kind of like the voice of God that I believe in, a short word from Bob or God slays the fucking dragon straight up.
Yeah.
Right? Like my dragon's a big bad motherfucker. And if God or Bob Carnegie say, down boy, like I feel like I'm okay.
Right.
And maybe that's pathetic, but I don't give a shit. I'd rather roll with, you know, those figures that can speak that small, victorious voice into my life than, you know, be a man without, you know, fighting my own dragon and shit without somebody to lean on. Like, because when that attack comes, I get real beat down.
You do.
I'll do anything not to feel that way. Man.
Yeah, straight up.
For me, worse than thinking I'm not doing well is have I been deceived into thinking I belong here at all?
What a
like, did I just fool myself into thinking I belonged in this thing at all?
Yeah.
And like that thought comes with some regularity.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not doing anything. Like for me, like
There you go.
once I graduated and
There you
I'm
go.
like I'm out. I did my like whatever shorts and everything,
Yeah.
and like I'm just throwing in, and I'm like, what am I gonna do now? Like I haven't done anything yet. Like since then.
Well, you're
And-
22.
Well, for me, it's like I always feel like I'm older
Yeah.
my whole life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because that's
Right.
just how I've been around, like very close to my brother. So
Yeah.
being with him, he's 3 years
Shout out
older than me.
Sebastian.
Shout out Sebastian. And I don't know, I always felt like that. All my friends are always older. Like I hang out with you, bro. You're like 28,
Yeah.
and like I don't know, everyone else around me is just a lot older. So I kind of give my expectations way up higher. Then I guess like another way I look at it is when I look around me at
Yeah.
people my age.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm doing a little. I'm doing good. I'm doing all right.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, like I still get that too.
Yeah, man. And you're fresh out.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a little
Working
time.
on it. Yeah, for sure.
But shit's going
I
your way
understand
now.
that. I
Shit's
understand.
going your way now,
Yeah.
right?
Recently, things have been going pretty nice.
You know what's good though
Things
is
have been popping up.
take note of this though. You've been taking action on a lot
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah, for sure.
You haven't been sitting around kind of
Yeah.
thinking about them. You've been doing them, which is a change in behavior, which leads to a change in
I
what's
got a
happening.
plan. I think I got a plan.
You got a plan. You plan all day.
Doing something.
Yeah. No.
Well, it's funny because that stretch of inactivity
yeah.
is when you're protected from the critical voice,
Yeah.
that dragon voice.
Right.
So long as there's something we feel called to do that's meaningful to us, right? It's also difficult to do. And we just go, yeah, that's my thing over there. And I'm just sitting on my ass,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? Like when I'm sitting on my ass, it's almost always motivated by, if I approach that thing, there might also be a dragon, right? And
Yeah.
like, so sitting on your ass is its own special kind of self-hatred.
Yeah.
And like just defeatism.
Right.
But you spare yourself the confrontation with the voice that says you have no business being here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's for me, I've realized in the last couple of years, like, I have such an aversion to discomfort, whereas I have no problem with pain, man. And sitting on your ass for me leads to pain. It leads to the painful missing out on whatever it is I've been called to do, right? But I'll sit there and take that pain all day instead of a few moments of discomfort with a critical voice from myself to myself.
Yeah.
And I've been over the last couple of years. There's been a lot of learning and changing and growing, and a lot of it is how to make the distinction between discomfort, which for me is always camouflaged as the impossible pain you couldn't bear. I can't bear to hear myself say I don't belong. Let me get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I've learned how to spot that for what it is and say it's just a nasty little feeling. But if you listen to it, you'll be in some real shit.
For sure.
Nobody told me that.
Yeah.
It's like an endless battle.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, yeah, man.
And maybe it fucking ought to be.
Yeah.
What else are we gonna do if we're not in a battle for this life? What are we gonna do? For
sure.
Just gonna mope around.
Maybe that's okay, right?
Yeah.
I'm better in battle than when I think I'm soaring and things are okay. If I've got something I think is strangling me that I have to strangle back, I'm a better version of myself than when I think I've got my shit together.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
That might be unfortunate, but it's also the case. So
Yeah.
that's the deal. I'm not going to resist that.
I kind of look at it as like it's something like there's always something to overcome
Sure.
in life,
Absolutely.
There's always another level, another step,
Totally.
And I think that's more valuable than thinking you're just flying through, like, flying colors, just everything's going good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, the first part, like, I think accepting, that there's problems is the first step in, like,
Yeah.
going past it.
Admitting that you spotting them and like saying,
Yeah.
there they
A lot
are.
of people
Agree.
ignore some of those feelings too.
Oh, some. I think we all do for a
All of
time.
them, probably.
There's some people don't recognize that they have,
Yeah.
something going on. I know I did that shit for a long time.
sure.
I'm just starting to like get a hang of myself,
Yeah.
spot those things. So I think journaling is so important, dude.
I gotta start that, man.
I'm telling you,
I-
Mike. I've been saying
I know.
it. I've been saying that to
I
you.
heard it last time for the first time.
Last time for the first
Yeah.
time?
See? That's that moment we were talking about.
A moment.
Where you go like, oh shit.
That's that moment
Oh
too.
yeah.
I've been thinking about journaling. And then you tell the guy who's been telling you to journal,
Yeah.
like, I just came up with something.
I'm starting tonight, dude.
Mike gets homework every week.
I heard. I got the feeling.
You got it?
Oh, I heard from the podcast.
You prepare anything for Michael?
Oh no, I got nothing to say to nobody about what they should do.
No shoulds. But like, would you say like this is a cool movie? Check it out.
I'd have to know what he thought was cool first.
What do you think's cool? K-pop,
Come on, bro. It's not me.
jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
You like jiu-jitsu?
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. He's a big fan of Joe.
That's the best.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm open to everything.
He likes romance. I'm getting him into poetry.
I like romance, poetry.
Yeah.
More dramatic. I guess like relationship stuff. That kind of
relationship stuff.
You know.
Japanese culture.
Japanese.
What else are you into?
like music.
Little sci-fi. You like some edgy shit?
I guess so. Yeah. I don't really like sci-fi like movies though.
Really?
Yeah, not really.
Okay. Did you watch The Fifth Element?
I didn't, dude. I honestly did not have a chance. I did not get to do the homework this week, bro. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'll do double time for next week.
You won't.
I know. I'll accept that.
You'll do it when you're ready to do it. That's all.
For sure. Now I have a list now, dude.
Yeah.
Tori gave me that list.
If you think of one, just shout it out.
Yeah.
If you think of a film.
Well, I think better than shouting out a film is like just watch a ton of shit until you start knowing what you like, bro.
It's true.
Like I don't think there's any one. I don't think it makes that much sense to say you must watch this movie because that'll help you. Like who nobody knows what the hell we're talking about. But I think if you like movies, watch a lot of them until you start to see like, well, this seems to be my thing.
For sure.
Maybe.
I like for the homework though is like for each guest I get like. I mean, Tori gave me like 20.
Yeah.
But like,
she was thorough.
Like for you, when you gave me,
Which one did I give you?
You gave me, you could probably guess it, right?
I heard it.
The Charlie Countryman.
There was no
Charlie
surprise.
Countryman, right? Like, I like that because it's like
Shout out Shia. Shout out Shia LaBeouf 1 time, 2 times.
What up, Shia?
But like, I like that. That's something that affected you.
Yeah.
And like, through watching it, I can kind of see that, and I like feel like I get kind of closer to you.
Right.
By watching that, you know.
Right.
So that feels nice.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing about movies, right?
Yeah. For sure. Man.
You get to know people a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You got a list of questions.
Yeah, I wanted to get into
cut myself off.
Yeah. I wanted to first start.
Hit
Dave
it.
was telling me. We were talking about it because he told me that you're coming on. And you know, I Googled you. You know, had to Google you.
Yeah.
But I told Dave, I'm like, oh, he was born in Texas. And Dave's telling me he was born in New Jersey.
Now
is
go ahead and
is
put
this
this to
Dave
bed.
being right, or is this the internet just
Go
like
ahead and put this.
Okay.
what's going on?
Time to go to sleep.
From Texas, right? I grew up there.
Yeah.
I was born, as it turns out, in a town that Dave and I went to today to get my birth certificate. That I haven't been to since I was born, called Willingboro, New Jersey.
Willingboro.
Because my dad was a captain in the Army stationed at Fort Dix Air Force Armed Forces place. So they had the Army there.
Respect.
At the time, there was they were policing a Cuban refugee camp, right?
Yeah.
And so he was there for a little while. So I was born here in New Jersey. My friends give me shit for it.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, it means that.
Hold on a second.
You're asking, so I'm going to be honest. And we're only dealing with the currency of opinion here.
Yeah.
From their view, I've been claiming to be a part of something superior when I'm actually the product of something terribly inferior, right? Mm-hmm. That's where they're coming from. The only solace that I found in any of it was when I started looking at all the great actors that were born in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Jack.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everyone did.
Gandolfini.
Oh yeah.
Shout out my boy Michael Gandolfini.
Shout out.
Shout out.
But his pops. If the only 2 people that ever did shit from New Jersey, how about Frank Sinatra?
Frank, that's our guy.
That's your god, right?
That's my father.
That's your dude.
Since I've been a baby.
Yeah.
That's been playing in the house. Frank.
Yeah.
Frank and Dean. But
Way
Frank
better
That
actor.
story you
Way better
told.
actor than anybody talks about.
incredible. Did I ever tell you the story? Oh, I told it. I'll tell it super
Yeah,
quick.
you did.
I told you the story
Yeah.
about Frank?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
About being at my great grandpa?
Yes.
Dude,
Crazy.
how nuts. That's
Yeah.
our guy. That is
Yeah.
like our, forget Bruce Springsteen, forget anyone else from Jersey. That guy, did it bigger than anybody. And if you're Italian, that's the guy you fucking
Right.
love. You know?
Right.
My father cried his eyes out when he died. I'll never forget that.
Really?
Cried his eyes out. So if he lost somebody, like an uncle.
Yep.
Crazy.
It's Frankie. We think we know him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
He did know.
It's like talking to him like as if he's in the house with us.
So as an actor, between Jack and James Gandolfini, I went, fuck it, dude. I'll rep New Jersey too.
Fuck.
Well, they're not repping it online, bro.
So they Google? Yeah, he Googled
Dude,
your shit.
they're saying you were born in Texas.
Who?
Everywhere, IMDb, everything.
Somebody edit.
They
that.
don't know anything.
Somebody edit that.
I'm gonna,
Who could even?
I'm gonna
but
report them.
here's what's
bro.
interesting when we like take things at face value online. Who could even know?
But who's the guy that's like, he's from
I
Texas?
had to go to the place of my birth today to get a document personally handed to me to prove to me and others that I was in fact born there. I had to pay for it and I had to show other proof that I existed, right? What? So whoever's just like, "Hey, he's from fucking here." It's like, who is that person? Who is it? And I'm not. And by the way, I'm not saying can't believe anything you read. I'm just like, I'm curious.
Yeah,
Who is
right.
it?
That's
And
what I'm saying. Who's the guy that was like?
And how would
ready
they
to
know?
Yeah.
How would they know?
That's weird.
I don't know.
Somebody put on answers.com that I'm 6'3".
You?
Yes. And
How tall are you?
How would anyone
How would they know?
Are you 6'3"?
Yeah. Whoa. But how would you? Who? And how would you know? Because there's nothing.
know.
I've never. If you're my friend,
Your mom's probably like,
how tall is David Joseph? No, dude, that was a weird one. But yeah, dude, you're from Texas still. But he's from Jersey. I told you, bro. I said it.
So here's a trippy thing. The first time I ever went to Brooklyn, I felt like a wonder, like, whoa, this is so great. I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
But I also felt like a familiarity and a kinship with it.
Right.
And this last Christmas, my grandmother produced these documents that showed me that my great-great-grandfather from Cork, Ireland, was born on a ship right off of Brooklyn a couple of days before they arrived, right?
Shit.
And so, like, I don't know. It's a mysterious thing, but like,
Holy shit.
you know, old people from different cultures say something about there's wisdom in the blood. Like, I think Flannery Connor has that story called Wise Blood. But I wondered if if it's not something passed down genetically, if it's just sort of a spiritual, like, part of your genetics have been here before, like
It's a familiar.
something.
Yeah.
But it certainly wasn't merely what a wonderful place. It was both surprising and familiar.
Right. Right.
And then I found out, like, yeah, he was born
that's crazy.
right off of Red Hook, just
Yeah.
popped out, busted out,
That's
and then they had
crazy.
to register him, I guess. It was cool, and she showed me the documents. And
Yeah.
it was like Brooklyn, New York, and I was like,
Wow.
that's nuts,
Wow,
dude.
wow, wow.
Like
You found your way back.
on that side, the story here in this country starts 2 miles from where I live.
That's why.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah. It's a trip.
There's a lot of that going on, man.
Yeah. It's cool though.
Yeah, it's very cool.
When you're open to it, I don't know. Being open seems like a good cure for boredom, or feeling stuck in the mud, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a little bit open, it's like, it seems like existence gets more interesting
Yeah.
quickly.
Yep. I got a question for you, bro.
What you got?
Talent. The word talent
Yeah.
and what it actually is. Do you think to act, let's say to tell stories for a living,
Yeah.
do you think you're born with that and you have to kind of like nurture it, harness it, use it? Or do you think it's something that you can, nobody has it and it's like ridiculous to even say that, and you just kind of, everyone has a chance to do this thing?
I don't know.
Right.
I think for certain things, you might be like, I feel like some people can't, like, it's hard.
Yeah.
'Cause I think like something like singing, maybe not everyone can do it.
Well, that's like a that's like a really, you need like a certain bone structure, right? Or like your nose has to
But
be
like,
shaped a certain way. And your
does
throat.
it?
Yeah, like the nose is a very, apparently, that's what I've heard. It's a very like, it's very important that you have a certain like
Really?
nasal
Well, that
canal,
nasal,
and
yeah,
like the air that passes through your throat, your esophagus, and your nose.
Yeah.
it shapes your sound.
I think maybe I'm just thinking singing right now. Maybe the talent, if you're born with talent, but then you can also like learn like vocal lessons and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like the talent aids in like character in a voice.
Right.
Where you might be able to learn how to sing, but maybe you can't have like character in it.
Right.
You know, maybe like, because that's what it essentially will make you different from someone else. You know, your voice.
Yeah.
I guess you can kind of think about that in like for acting too.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe it's the way someone's brain works or the way they think of stuff.
That's what I think.
You know?
I think that, and I don't know, but I think there's if you take two stories, like if a story has moved you, and it's something that you just took to, like I can remember the first story. What's like the first story you remember like that really moved you? If you could bring it back.
Oh, I really want to get the first one. Keep talking. I'll try to remember.
Okay.
I'm going to try to remember.
I can remember my grandmother like reading. We had a series of like Winnie the Pooh books, and she would read them to me at night. And I remember being like taken somewhere away from like Elmo Park, New Jersey. You know what I mean? And like those moments, like laying down, and she was like her voice reading me the story, but then her voice would like disappear, and I was somewhere else. And that was the first time I remember like being teleported, being moved, feeling warm from a story, from pages, like printed pages. I think I just took to stories really early on, and I didn't think I realized it till I was 5 years old.
Right.
You know,
Mine
but
was
I was
Where
always
the Wild Things Are.
Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah.
And I think part of it, like there were other stories that affected me that like there were movies I had seen that at a very young age affected me, but essentially what they did is they terrified me. They made me afraid of the world I lived in. Where the Wild Things Are was the first thing I can remember that I connected to, because the kid was a shit.
Yeah.
He was a punk.
Yeah.
And when he went to bed, you know, the little brat that he had been all day was reduced to something scared unless he got invited into what he was afraid of.
Right.
If I'm remembering right.
Yeah.
Like he was spooked, right?
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, you can be one of us.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you can be the king of us.
Yeah.
And I think it made me feel like for a punk ass bitch kid, which half the time I was and half the time I was a sweetheart, right?
Like a lot of kids.
Like a lot of kids. When I was afraid and selfish,
Yeah.
nothing's changed. I was a punk, right? And when I was grateful and other-minded, I think I was a sweet kid.
Yeah.
But I was more sensitive to the fact that I knew there was a part of me that was a bad kid.
Yeah.
And here's a story about a bad kid who learned a big lesson about fear, in maybe an unsuspecting way.
Right.
Like it was a surprising way. And I don't remember if I took anything away in terms of the moral, but I remember it being real easy to put myself into it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Little shit, scared, who ends up learning a lesson of some kind.
Right,
Like,
right on.
Sounds familiar, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Word. And then it goes to Lonesome Dove. Dude, running around like a fucking cowboy.
Game over.
Yeah, dude.
Game over, dude. It's a wrap.
What other questions you got for Jimmy? I'm proud of you, man.
Look at that, dude.
I'm fucking proud. He did his research, his homework.
I did, bro. I had an interesting...
Shout out Mike Nowicki for being on the ball, dude. No, I'm proud of you. Just saying that.
There's a lot of just like general basic stuff I wanted to go through.
It's like legible handwriting. It's good handwriting.
It's not
man.
bad, right? It's shit. For real.
It's like technician handwriting.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I totally
Get it from the family, dude.
Yeah.
There you go.
A lot of blue collar.
Yeah, it's good handwriting.
So from Jersey, then you go to Texas.
Dude. Born
Born Jersey.
Yeah.
Hold up now.
From Texas.
No, from Texas.
What do you mean from and born? Like
It's hard. It messed my head up.
grew up in.
Grew up.
Grew up in Texas.
Grew up in
Gotcha.
Texas.
Yes.
How long were you in Texas for?
Dying to get out of here.
20 years, 2 months, and 18 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
To the day.
Yeah.
So you were acting in Texas, like you started.
A little bit.
Okay.
I did start there. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you did the trip to Cali, right?
Yep.
And I feel like it's like, I wanted to know about like the, did you have like a transition of like, I feel like people in Texas are definitely different from people in Cali,
Is that
Yes.
true?
right?
Yes, they are.
Do you remember anything like that just kind of like amazed you?
Oh man, yeah.
Because I took a trip to Cali literally like a
Couple.
couple months for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on, dude? Because I met a lot of people in New York, they come from Cali. And
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. It's a completely different world.
The thing that comes to mind is like, it's too sensitive to tell without sounding narrow-minded, but it was basically, but it was a surprise. It also wasn't something that I took as a negative, but I had never seen. I remember, like, even before getting to Los Angeles, stopping in Indio, California, at this gas station, and there was a mom and dad that seemed like my mom and dad, and they had two twin sons that were maybe 15 or 16, that were flamboyantly homosexual. And it was just interesting because the kids, my friends in Texas that were gay at that point were like, yo, like,
Yeah.
if my pops knew I'm fucked, like,
Yeah.
trying to get this dick on the low, and like, you know, and I was like, I don't understand what's going on, man. It's like, I love you.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem
Yeah,
with
yeah.
you, whatever. But I hadn't yet seen, and it was certainly due to the culture, right?
Yeah.
Like it was, I had gone into another culture, and it was these twin boys were like, I mean, like spangle earrings and like,
Oh wow.
like really, really flamboyant.
Yeah.
And mom and dad were just like, you know, Mike, do you want this? You want that? And they were just like proudly like Broadway musical, like, no, mom. And like, and nobody flinched. And I thought, I almost said my friend's name, but I don't know where he's at with his parents now. Like, Jesus, he'd be so relieved
Yeah, to see that.
to see that, like, you know, because he don't know how his parents are gonna respond.
Yep.
He's predicting that it ain't gonna go well.
Yeah.
That was like the first. That was like the first thing, and again, it wasn't like, oh good or oh yikes. It was just how different.
Yeah.
How different, man.
Yeah.
Never seen that.
Word.
Yeah, when I went there and I was walking around on the promenade, like marijuana here and weed here.
Oh yeah,
You know?
that was
I walk
another
over
one.
there and I see some guy just pass by with a blunt and like I just smell everyone. I'm like,
That's
what is
another
going on, dude?
That's more
crazy.
They're loose, bro.
I remember
Yeah.
smoking a blunt on the sidewalk, and cop car in traffic, because there's traffic everywhere, stopped, and me just being like, won't.
It's like an instant.
And my friend holding his hand out, like, pass it to me. And I'm looking at him like, yo, dude, when they move, we'll do that. And he's like, he just looked at me and goes, yo, dude, they don't give a fuck. And I'm like, okay, you know, like, here comes jail. And like,
Here comes
No.
jail.
You know?
nope, just like, yeah, we got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
What else you got?
I got some other stuff. So you were in. Did you name any like the films or shows or anything? that he was in?
No.
I mean, big names: True Blood,
Yeah.
Suicide Squad,
Yeah.
Fury.
Yeah.
You know, do you have like a role that was like the biggest challenge for you to be in? Or really like you had like a shift in like either like thinking you had to like adjust to?
I think probably the shift would be like the thing to focus on out of those options, because everything's been challenging in its own way.
Yeah.
Some things the challenge is to just like shut the fuck up and don't be a dumb actor about this. Like sometimes it's so easy that the challenge is not to trip yourself up. But
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
That's so okay. So you're saying like when you say don't be like a piece of
Yeah.
shit actor, you're saying like you don't have to fucking overdo it
No.
if it's
Yeah.
right there in front of you, spelled out for you.
My first job ever was me playing the best friend of a guy who was better in every way than me, trying to say, let's not forget to have fun. And
Is that Annapolis?
yeah. And it was played by my friend who was better than me in every way and like leading me through life. And I think apart from like loving and caring for me, part of the reason was I was around is maybe I can spice shit up.
Yeah.
So, but the overthinking and the journal writing and the crazy shit I did, it was like, but a couple years later, we did another movie, Adderall Diaries.
Yeah.
Where all it was is we had a crazy friendship for a long time and we love each other and shit's changing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And neither of us read the script. He just went, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So there's that. And I wouldn't recommend that as like an approach, but sometimes really the work is to convince yourself to just knock it off. Just stop trying to make it tricky. But in terms of where shifts happen, I think on True Blood, I had the time, the quality of material, and the support to get comfortable doing what I did in class, where it took some time and support and quality of work to get comfortable. I had those same elements in a job, and I had years to do it, right? And so I think in the first 2 years, right at about the 1.5 to 2 year mark, I remember shooting my first scene that felt like, and this was a shift that I haven't gone back on yet. It was a shift that went, I can do what I do in the classroom on these sets. And before that, there was a huge wall of like, can I?
Yeah.
Is it possible? Am I one of the people that's only good there but not here? And I would say that's where the biggest shift happened. Yeah.
That's such a real fear.
Yeah.
That I have that too.
It's legit.
Because you're hoping for a space where you can bring the quality of work you got in class the same way you do it, pouring work into it, being as free as possible, being open to the moment, adjusting, all that, and doing for real in a circumstance that you believe.
Yeah.
But on a set, it's like, for me, I've been experiencing like, I get cast in something. Dave, we need you in 3 weeks. Here's the script. We're working on it. We're adjusting it a bit. I don't meet the director until the day of the shoot. We don't. I audition on a camera. You know what I mean? And you get there. You're just meeting your the people you're working with, your scene partners, and for me, I found that a lot of the first time I did that, like the first few times I did it, I was very afraid that like, well, the work I did in there isn't translating to the work I'm doing here. Maybe that's fear. Maybe that's just me being in my head. It's not a lot of time. It doesn't feel very safe, and it's not a lot of time. So you have to make that place just as comfortable. I'm realizing that like,
It's all a head game.
Dude, I need empathy for that director. I need to give a fuck. I need to give a fuck about this story. I need to fill this thing out back to front. I need to care about every doing. Make a meaningfulness, I think, is a really important thing too.
Yeah.
We're taught like you have to make it meaningful to yourself, so it's like a compelling thing for Mike to get up and do. Otherwise, you don't give a fuck. Yeah. And then you get in your head, and then you're afraid, and then your work's gonna be shit. So I'm realizing like these connections that I'm making with people when I meet them.
Yeah.
On the day, I should already be working on that before I meet them. For me, to create this like stable environment, where I feel safe.
Well,
to
and that's why I said it's a head
around.
game, right? Is like, who the hell said anybody was safe in class?
Oh no, right? That's true.
But here's the thing: we all at some point got to a point where we sensed we were,
right? Totally.
Meaning we always were, and our head said we weren't, and then we worked enough until our head stopped saying that so much, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a head thing on set too. Who the hell says there's such a thing as a safe set or a dangerous set?
Sure.
Well, the only person I know speaking to that at all is that goddamn dragon again. You need this in order to be valuable here, in order to function well, whatever. And it's the same thing. It's like class didn't get safe for me.
Right.
I started freeing up in class because I stopped thinking about am I safe or not.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And so if it's like, here I go into set, are they the type that appreciate my work or not? Well, here's the deal. For me, if I'm thinking like that, it's going to go bad.
Dude, you're talking exactly.
If I don't think about it at all and just say, and and look at it really, and I had a huge breakthrough this summer that maybe we can get into.
Yeah, for
Please,
sure.
man, yeah.
Of like service-oriented acting, like I've always believed in that, you know?
Yeah.
I've always believed in that the actor's job is to serve. And the actor's job is to serve in a movie, primarily the script, secondarily as told, let's say, by this director, ultimately so that you serve whoever lays eyes on the thing, right? And since you can't get to them, the audience, without passing through this script, this day, this director, that's the thing to deal with. That's the place where you serve. Like, the audience getting it is not even you serving at that point. Like, your job is done. And I've always believed that, but I had a really cool opportunity this summer where I did this indie movie, and it was really, really capable, brilliant young people on the production side kind of doing their first thing, a couple $1 million of somebody else's money and their name on it, right? And so they were hungry and they were sharp, man. When I say brilliant, I don't even mean talent, because that's not as important, I think, as people think when it comes to that side. They were brilliant in the way that they insisted that they act every day like it mattered. Long before we started shooting, they were already acting that way. And I thought, you know, what a cool place for me, instead of me saying, if I did really well here, it would be something like me coming back from a period of time of not acting well or not acting very much. And I just went, all right, in life, I'm trying to just be as useful as I can. Some days that means all you do is shut the fuck up. Some days it means, you know, you go over here when you don't want to because there's somebody that maybe you could help, whatever. And I thought, all right, I'm going to do all my acting work, even the stuff that seems easy and obvious, and I'm going to do it. And then when I touch down in that state and it's time to go, I'm going to just be of service. And for the month that we shot that thing, like a mantra all day, and sometimes there was prayer involved of like, where do I help? How can I help? And in the past, I would do that like, here's my idea. It's better than yours. It helps. Trust me, out of my way. And if you gave me any guff about it, I would then serve myself by throwing a fit. You know, not like wah, but like, fuck this job. I don't care. I don't give a shit. And I went, no. Like, as cooperative as I can be, as useful as I can be, I'm going to focus on that. And the movie wrapped, and I have no inclination whatever how the acting went, except that I have an overwhelming sense that I was useful to the project, and the way that I was useful made the project more useful to whatever audience sees it than it would have been had I not been there. Right? And it was the most relaxed, enjoyable experience, because I wasn't believing I needed to be useful, but also managing my own glory. It was, and I can't take much credit. Something relieved me of the desire to like get a little wink, like, nice job what you did there. It didn't matter, whatever. Yeah. Was it helpful or not? Let's move to the next thing. Is it helpful or is it not? Yeah. And so since then, that's been the deal. Which means, as it turns out, those boogeyman environments were me making up with my mind that they were a place where I couldn't be useful. For sure. Or it was me saying, I'm not here to be useful, I'm here to be grand. Right. Are you going to accommodate me or not? Right. And if the answer is no, this isn't a very good set. Okay. Yeah. Right? Yeah. If you're in the way of me doing what I think I need to do to be brilliant, this is a bad set. Yeah. They don't work the way I do. Right. Right. Well, who the fuck does? Yeah. Right? People aren't, as we talked about, groups. As much as there's a pathological belief that we are groups, we're individuals. So who the fuck does work the way Dave works, right? I think if Dave's saying that, or if I'm saying that, or you're saying that, what we mean is they let me do my thing, or they appreciate things, or they don't understand, but they encourage me to do well, right? Yeah. But my beef in the past, I used to I don't think I was being very honest with myself, because I was saying it's all about the integrity of the job and they don't care about it. If I'm honest with myself, and I can be now, I choose to be now. The thing I was upset about was I don't feel celebrated enough with my good ideas, and I'm afraid I'm not going to do a very good job, and I'd like a scapegoat. I'd like to blame these people that don't get it, right? And nobody that I have any respect for,
Straight up.
as a human being, approaches life that way. Well, my life would be good except that so-and-so's out there like blah, 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 blah. And when I found myself, looking back, I found myself acting that way a lot. Like, and making things harder for others instead of helping, because I was afraid that I wouldn't do something that would glorify myself.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm not proud of that, but I'm happy to have recognized that so that I can knock it off.
Fuck yeah. For
You know? Yeah.
When I think of, when you were talking about that, like what came to my mind was, it's like a structure or a building. So let's say like there's like a brick wall, right? Like you're just another brick, that's holding this thing up.
Sounds like a song almost.
Yeah, right.
You singing?
And all in all, but like all like those bricks that are like stacked together and on top of each other,
Yeah.
they don't like ask each other like, oh, like I'm this shit, I'm a better brick, I'm bigger, I'm fucking stronger. And
Yeah.
it's all the same, and they all serve the same purpose.
Yes.
And they're all a member of a team.
Totally.
Yep.
Totally.
And if everyone's like that, then that thing's gonna stand forever.
Right. Okay.
And it's gonna be the best thing.
Yeah. Everyone's doing their job.
Yeah.
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 I like that.
Right.
That's cool.
That's yeah,
like
and
that.
it's actually doing a job at that point. It's not the yeah, man.
For sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's dope, dude. You just came up with that.
All in all, I just a brick in the wall.
That's that poetry, dog.
Yet another.
That's what you do, man.
That's
That's another
poetry.
one, dude.
Yeah. We're talking about a collaborative process, probably the most.
I think so.
Yeah.
Of the creative arts.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think too. But yeah, man.
I don't know, maybe like a Disney on Ice spectacular. But like, no, I don't think so. They don't then go into a phase where everybody goes home and, 4 people go into a dark room for 8 months and finish the ice show.
Yeah.
It's like, I really think it's the most collaborative thing.
It's made 3 times.
So maybe like the job each of us has in front of us is plenty, and maybe it ain't the job of everyone else to accommodate us and make sure that, because here's the other kind of thinking shift I've had.
Yeah.
My favorite directors created an environment where people could work the way I like to work.
Right.
Maybe that's why they're my favorite directors.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, man.
And maybe the people who aren't less than. And in fact, maybe I could work the way I work wherever I choose to.
Right. Absolutely.
But if I think it's necessary for them to work the way I work, I'll choose not to.
Yeah.
And then I won't do well.
That's the thing.
Right? So I'm enacting the belief.
Yes.
Which is like the most powerful thing I think people can do.
Yeah.
Is enact a belief.
Yes. Yes. There's
You know?
yes, man. That's the trap. Is that like? And I've spoken to a lot of people that came out of the school and like we're still figuring things out. Like you go kind of like what I was saying before. You go on a short, and you don't have empathy. You don't because a certain person isn't working the same way you work. And then it's like,
God
you don't,
forbid.
you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't get it.
Right.
I really care. And I do, but like, who am I to say that you don't care or that your process doesn't
Right.
serve you and the story? I'm being selfish. I'm being ignorant. You know what I mean? And then I'm not connecting at all.
Let me
I'm not
ask you
doing my
this,
job.
in all honesty.
Yeah.
I tried to very deliberately tell you guys, it's on you to do this wherever you go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't say, hey, there's some sets where it's okay if you're shit because they didn't bend to you. Right?
Yeah.
I went, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Obviously it's better if, but like you've got to go and do your thing.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think the reason for that is like, so if you were to just start listing principles from what you learned when you studied acting, right?
Yeah.
Like go.
Living truthfully in imaginary circumstances.
Who could stop you from that other than you?
Me. That's it.
What else?
The truth of the moment is everything.
So what set could take that away from you more than you could take that away from you?
Nobody but me.
So like all of a sudden, it's like life. It kind of comes down to like, and I'm certainly not speaking from a position of having figured out life, man.
Yeah.
But I'm liking how life is going better. And one of the things that I'm holding on to like dearly is, what are you gonna do today about you, right? About your hope, problem, fear, whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
And in the past, I liked to avoid that question by passionately latching on to anything else that I could.
For sure.
You know?
For sure.
Did you hear about fucking so-and-so?
Yeah.
Did you hear, man? Or the fucking government's coming, or like, you know, you've heard like me rant about shit like that. And really it's like, that was a nice way to not ask myself like, what's going on, man? And what do you need to do?
Yeah.
What do you mean, what do you need to do? In order to what? In order to have a good life? You can't do a lot. Well, how about a good day? All right, what do you need to do?
Yeah.
There's that discomfort thing again. So it's like, well, maybe I can just tell you guys what I heard about so-and-so. And like, yeah, that's fine and good, but now you're a child, right? Now you're a gossiping 8th grader. And I did that in 8th grade, and I probably did it way past 8th grade, and it didn't help me other than it helped me to not do what would be good for me.
Yeah.
Which is to say, what the hell's really going on, and what hard thing might I need to try to do and fuck up and fail and land on my head and shit. Like, and it's not any different with this. Here's a set where it's easy, and here's a set where it's hard. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And in the past,
like
I'm definitely guilty of going, well, the reason I wasn't good, they don't know how to work. And it's like, well, okay.
They don't.
It turns out, motherfucker, you chose to act like you don't know how to work.
Yes.
Yikes.
But that's true. You're right. It's all in your control. It's all in your control.
It ain't up to nobody else.
It's not up to him to decide if I can work off of him or not.
He can make it harder,
Yeah,
right?
but it's not up to him. That's on me.
Damn.
Well, yeah, he doesn't get to choose how you come at it.
How meaningful I make it doing. You know, it has nothing to do with that.
And it's like, why are the really, really good people with acting, let's say, so good across not only time but other dimensions of filmmaking? Why are they good in genres that aren't maybe necessarily rooted in moment-to-moment truth all the time? Why are they good when there's a great actors director there, and why are they great when there's a fucking painter who's never worked with actors before at the helm, right? Like Julian Schnabel at one point went from painting to movies, and the actors had to deal with it, and they were pretty fucking good because they weren't saying, well, I don't work well with painters who now direct. They were just like, my job is my job, dude. So it seems more and more, man, like, and really what we're talking about is not even an ability, but an attitude.
Right.
And that's the scary thing, is like, could it be as simple as adjusting an attitude? And like, a lot of the last 2 years of my life have been proven to me like, hey man, that may not be the whole story, but it's got to be the beginning.
Right.
Every ugly thing that's been laid to waste, or that I've begun the process of laying to waste, has started with a shift in attitude. And every thing that sort of lets in the sunlight of the spirit and lets clean, fresh air and new roads open up have started with not living well, but shifting perspective and having a different attitude about things, namely myself.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Namely, being as a whole. If I think it's wrong, if I think it's set up the wrong way, and if it ain't right, I'm not useful for very much except railing against it, man.
Right.
And that's just like the spirit of Cain, which I'm cool with because it feels empowering.
Yeah.
It feels empowering to slay what you hate.
Cain and Abel.
Feels good.
Yeah.
The result isn't so good.
Right.
right? My task is me, right? And if I hate this world, my task is not to tear it down or go fix it. Good goddamn luck.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody go fix it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, and I get it too, because that's that easier thing, man.
Yeah.
And it's also delusional enough that it's attractive to me because I can be a super delusional cat.
Right, right.
These illusions of grandiosity, you know, I'll change the world. It's like, man, maybe you should just fix your shitty attitude where you avoid responsibility, where you're selfish and afraid, and
Yeah.
where you blame your troubles on other people.
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds big enough for the next 5 fucking years. You know, and maybe do some good acting along the way.
That's so fucking great, man.
It's like,
To just-
that's a lot, man.
You're-
That's a ton.
But you're giving yourself like a few manageable things for a certain amount
Yeah.
of time just to work on for yourself.
And by the way, they're barely within reach, man.
Right, right, right.
Like, I
Okay.
can do it. I can have a good attitude today.
Yeah, yeah.
And when it shifts, I can change it. But it's not because that's a small thing,
Right, okay.
right? My shitty, everyone scares me, nobody loves me,
Oh, yeah.
fuck them, fuck it attitude had precisely 28 years of practice.
It's well versed in how to get the
Bro,
fuck out
it hit the gym
for 20
for 28 years. And so if 2 years later, I can say, not today, man.
Yeah,
It ain't society's fault today.
right.
It ain't this group's fault or that group's fault, or it ain't what they did. It ain't that I'm misunderstood. It ain't blah, blah, blah. Not today. I don't get to rail against it. I don't get to say fuck off. I don't get to stew. I don't get to run away
Yeah,
and blame, right?
yeah.
When that's all I know, because that's all I practiced for 28 years.
yeah.
It's a pretty big, it's plenty enough today to say, don't do that today.
Right.
And make a bet with the end of the day, or not a bet, rather like a contract with the end of the day. When I meet you, I'll have not done that shitty, selfish, weak thing.
Yeah,
Now, there might be some shitty, weak, stupid surprises. There inevitably are.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But it's okay.
yeah,
Then I'd take note of that.
yeah.
How about tomorrow we put that on the list with the other crap that you're trying to be rid of, right? And like,
yeah.
and maybe you do, maybe you don't. But like, to take responsibility for what's in front of you, and which I think starts with an attitude, and then maybe try to be useful, and don't get caught up in game playing and self-pity,
Right.
or self-aggrandizement, which oddly enough, they seem like opposites, but they're like evil.
What does that mean, self-aggrandizement?
Self-aggrandizement is the idea that despite all these flaws I'm telling you about, and I'll be straight up, and this is perverse. Despite all the things we're being honest about that I struggle with, sometimes in creeps the idea that really what the world needs is me to change it.
Right.
Now, I don't mean that what I need is for me to change my ways, but like what this world needs is my particular insight or directive, or, you know, the secret knowledge that somehow I garnered about how others ought to be living their life. And if I could get the world's attention and they could hear me out here, then they'd straighten out. That's pathologically egotistical, right? And it's fine when we're acting, because we're supposed to take that imagination and let it run to the ends of the fucking universe, right? But if in my life, as I'm on fire over here a little bit, big problem over here, avoiding this and that, ignoring these responsibilities, I'm also going, you know, if people had my guidance, it's like, yeah, okay. History's got some examples of people like that. Hitler was a good one. Mao was a good one. Stalin was a good one. These people, you know, for the good of you all, come to me and I'll impart to you what only I could, and I'll deliver us to the promised land. For me, that thought comes, let me be honest, not proud of it. And then I go, hey, dude,
Settle down.
why don't you just
Chill out.
Just be honest when it's uncomfortable today. Make sure so-and-so's okay because they were having a tough time yesterday. Clean up your room. Read a book. Drink a lot of water. Which I'd recommend. And get some fucking sleep, man. Like,
Yeah.
and look, for some people, they might go, yeah, that's that. And I'm like, I don't know, man. That's my best life right now. Is like, I'm really enjoying the depth of relationships I'm having. I enjoy feeling useful without it slipping into they need me.
Yeah.
That's dangerous territory. It's pathological territory.
Right.
Right? And I've been there, man. Been there.
I think everyone's like everyone has these holes that they think everyone can see, and we're always trying to fill them so we look the best to everyone else.
You have a hole and you're like, I'm never gonna let you see this.
Yep.
And you fill it with like behavior and fucking actions that may not be
and then
honorable.
Yeah.
You know, or like shit that you'd agree with if you were having a conversation with somebody, but shit you would do because you're wounded. I think I'm garbage. That's in me from,
for sure.
that's innately in me. And so there's been behavior that I've developed that's like, I can talk to anybody. And you say that all the time.
Yeah.
But that's because I have a fucking desire to not be like left alone on the street somewhere because I believe I'm trash,
Yeah.
So I covered that up with a nice behavioral trait, which is like, what's up?
Yeah.
I'm Dave. Nice to meet you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which just has its pros, but definitely its cons because I feel like, shit if I'm alone. And it's a real fear.
Why do you feel like shit when you're alone, do you think? Do you think?
Because I guess I don't like this.
Don't like yourself.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I get it.
Which is real. And there's a fear to talk about that.
Yeah.
Sure. As men, like,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to be like, really afraid, man.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm crying. I'm getting
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah.
You really don't fucking talk about that shit.
You cry on this podcast every time.
I'm not crying today. Or maybe I will.
Not today, dude. Today's don't give a fuck day.
Today's I'm empty shell, and I'm a cool motherfucker.
Today I'm too cool for this world.
Yeah, man, but that's the real shit. That's the real shit. And that's what I
Yeah.
loved about what you showed me. Like in that room. Was like, it's not about emotion. It's not who gives a shit about emotion. It's about really doing something meaningful to you. And emotion sometimes comes with that, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But like when I say safe, that was a safe place for me to say, first of all, who the fuck am I? That was the first time I ever like took an account of what
Yeah.
I was about, what made me tick, You said I'll never forget, you said, if you don't know yourself, motherfucker, you better get familiar. That's what you said.
Maybe I was talking to myself.
Nah, but I don't know.
Well, at least a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah. That was one of those that's true, but I'm not doing it things.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah.
But I wasn't doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And so when he said that, it was like, that's why I say journal.
Yeah.
Is because like when you start taking inventory of you start realizing what you give a fuck about. You really, I had no idea. I was walking through life just on autopilot because I didn't know what I gave a fuck about. And emotions would just come and then I'd stifle them. And I'm a walking fucking, gray robot with all this shit underneath that just wants to come out. And I couldn't. And I couldn't bring it to the work. I couldn't give a fuck about a thing. Doing an activity, even a simple activity, was like torture. Trying to craft something that like that you give a fuck about, but you don't even know what you care about.
Right.
You don't know you yet. Damn.
Well, I think part of that, man, is there's a process to figure it out. And I think the other part of it is, and we've talked about this before, the movement to humiliate the value of the individual.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
like it or not, and with all of its imperfections, the West, let's say,
Right.
is in agreement, or was at least in its inception, as we know it,
Right.
about the idea that the individual has a sacred worth,
Yeah.
right? Meaning, rather than a group has its sacred worth, and if an individual has some worth, it's because it trickled down, which in economics is something that group identity people don't like, but they, I guess, seem to like when it comes to the value of a person, trickles down. Your value is that you're part of the group, right? And the West parted ways with that and said imperfectly, which was evidenced by the fact that, you know, there was slavery and women couldn't vote for too long and shit like that. But they imperfectly said, and I think rightly said, the individual is sacred, right? And if we were to act that way, it's not that groups would fall to the wayside, it's that we would organically find ourselves in groups of different kinds without becoming ideologues, right? And I think that part of the reason that there's so much groupthink, which you shouldn't just shoot down, you should look into it. Is groupthink bad or is groupthink good, right? You shouldn't just cast it aside as a negative. And I've spent the last year examining that from a historical perspective. Is groupthink good or is it bad? And as it turns out, it just depends on if you like mass murder or not.
It's that simple.
But really, it is that simple. Yeah. If you do, as it turns out, groupthink is the greatest thing ever. If you are adverse to mass murder, groupthink is your most likely, your most likely ally in getting a world that shocks and appalls and breaks your heart, right? So if people know, look, from what age did we know what we were supposed to think?
From what age?
From what age? What, 8, 9, 10?
Yeah.
Early.
Yeah.
Supposed to. How'd we know? What do they think? What do they think? What do they think?
Check
So where then was the point where we said, my own thoughts, feelings, perceptions, opinions, right, are valuable?
Yeah.
When do we spend some time finding them out? Never. The group's got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Hope the group's right.
Yeah.
And hope the group isn't led astray by one person who's wrong, because all it would take is one person misleading the group.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about this. Why be a part of a group? And I'm talking about a group identity rather than a personal identity. And I think that the answer is, well, you're safe, seemingly,
right,
in numbers, and also when there's something you oppose, you have a sense and a surge of power that you wouldn't have individually, right? So let's say we all like Team A, and there's 3 of us, and there's a Team B guy over there, right? Don't we feel better about saying, like, nice game, buddy, as a group than we would if it were a dark alley and we were 1-to-1 with the guy, right? So there's safety. You guys will protect me. We don't ever bother to say from what. I didn't, right? But safety in numbers, the herd, you know, like wildebeest. And then also, plus we can come together and take that motherfucker out easier than I could 1-to-1. And then it's like, all right, so what's the incentive for somebody who wants to be the head of the group, telling the group which way to go and this and that? It's like power, right? Yeah. Power that you feel like you couldn't have on your own. So there's, I think, this incredible incentive to avoid getting to know yourself that is accelerated and encouraged almost to the point of indoctrination from a very, very young age, to favor the group and to favor that somebody will get you to the promised land without ever describing to you what the promised land is, and without ever consulting with yourself to see if you agree that that destination is indeed where it is that you were hoping to end up. And maybe a simpler version is to say, I don't experience my emotions as a group, but as an individual. Okay? I don't have rights as part of a group. In a court of law, when I go on trial, it's not my group, but say tall, dashing, recovering alcoholics. They're not on trial. I am. I don't have responsibilities as a group, right? my group doesn't, when it's time for me to pay my taxes, which is my responsibility, it's not the group owes taxes.
Yeah.
I don't have group relationships, and I don't experience hope or fear at the level of the group. All things are indicating, with my rights, my responsibilities, my hopes, and my fears, it can only be experienced as an individual, right? So maybe that's the deal. And maybe groups are useful as they emerge organically. And I think if they emerge organically, they'll probably only emerge also usefully. But when you start with the idea that I know you guys feel a lot and you have rights and responsibilities, but I got news for you. You're a cog in the fucking wheel, and whatever's best for the group is what you're going to do, is how you're going to go along. Well, now all it takes is a charismatic, ill-intended, manipulative leader to take what was supposed to be in part someplace for you to be safe and put you on a fucking sinking ship, right?
Right.
And that doesn't happen with individuals the way it happens with groups. And tribalism appears to be part of what we do, but it seems to be most effective when the tribe identifies themselves as human first.
Right.
And I guess what I'm saying is, as the old Western idea of the individual being prime shifts and slides down into another well-tried idea that the group is it and you're a part of it, and that's why you're worth something. And right now we're seeing a flux of that. It should be no surprise that none of us know who the fuck we are, because essentially the message has been, it doesn't matter, we'll tell you.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Doesn't matter, we'll tell you.
Yeah. That's what I mean. All my whole life I was told, like, you're not smart. You know, or just maybe I just picked it up on my own, but like I feel like I was kind of told what I was. You're an athlete, so that means A, B, C, D, E. When I didn't, I liked playing basketball, but I didn't like fucking competing and traveling and fucking, you know, going crazy. I enjoyed it with my friends. You know, when I played in the league, I hated it.
Yep.
I'd do shitty in school because I thought I was a shitty student. When I used to get really great grades, and I felt like I was being put in a box. Like by age 20, like it was almost, you know, sealed and delivered. Like that's who you're gonna be. Don't worry, we took care of it for you. You know, the group said this, this community said this, and that's what you're gonna be. You're gonna be a landscaper. You know.
We've decided
that's your
here's
uncle,
what
your
would
uncle
be.
did it. You're gonna do it.
I mean, really, there should be a healthy, like I don't mean a viciousness towards anybody suggesting I know how you should be, but there should be real inquiry, man. Including when you say it to yourself. I know how I should be. I should be the guy everybody likes. We should. Why? Where did we get the idea of that? Right? It deserves inquiry.
Yeah. Why do we feel the need to be liked at all?
Sure, it's a question worth asking.
Yeah.
And if I was telling you guys as we talk about these two things, if I were to punctuate it by saying, therefore, you two should feel the way I feel about the difference between group identity and the individual. You should really be cautious. Really be cautious. And that's why it's not my place, and I don't really think it's anybody's place to say, follow me. And that might sound contradictory because I was a teacher and the head of a school.
Yeah.
But all being a teacher is for me, really, not to degrade it, but to make it as unsophisticated as possible, it's gossip, man. A guy told me what a guy told him.
Right.
This guy told this guy, acting works best like, oh yeah, okay. And I told you guys.
Yeah, and you said early on.
It's not a leader.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like a gossiper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're cynical about the gossip, try it.
Try it.
Right? If you think life with your identity being centered in a group is the best,
That's so
by
funny.
all means try it, man.
Yeah.
Or if you think perhaps it's about being an individual, try it.
Yeah.
But if somebody starts trying to say no, for your own sake, which is odd that somebody would come out of the blue and say for your own sake without thinking you could conclude that, what would be best for you. For your own sake, you need to kind of go with us. Yeah, we've seen this. This is a cult. This is all of a sudden you're about to be in a position where you have to decide if you're the good German or not. And by the way, once you're in that position, from what I've read, it's almost impossible to stand up and say, I didn't sign up for this, you know? And I've been under that kind of tyranny as directed to me by me. Yeah. And there's a couple times I've been a little led astray, mostly by myself. But how the hell should anybody know who the hell they are when they're told the only significance you have is if you're part of this group or that?
Right.
And that was decided before you got here.
Right.
Cool. Then all I need to know is learn the indoctrination of the group, repeat it. Why do you guys say it's important? They tell me, that's why I must, and carry right on.
Yeah.
And there's no room there to understand yourself. Not a bit.
Yeah.
Not a bit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so weird to think that you just like, I think a part of it has to do with like someone like directing it towards you, you know, being like for your sake, you know, like you said.
Well, that's when I think you know it's really nefarious, man.
Yeah.
Because that's where it's somebody having the kind of aggrandizement that we were talking about earlier. Hey, nice to meet you. I know better than you know how you ought to be next.
That's so funny.
And it's so, but here's the thing, it's so common, and we all do it, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? Until we become aware of it, we all do it.
Totally.
I like this. No, you need to listen to so-and-so song. But when you start seeing groups get divided up that way,
Right.
and you see, there seems to be something in common. There's an individual operating solely by himself or herself, operating as an individual on behalf of a group and on behalf of you becoming a part of that group and ceasing to be an individual. Who's the only person that's not adhering to the rules? The recruiter or the genius who has such a great idea for everybody else, right? And that's usually the unhappiest person in the lot.
Right.
And usually I think they're gathering that out of their unhappiness, or out of their dissatisfaction with the structure of being, to either empower themselves to combat being, or to and tear it down, or to empower themselves to overcome being and establish a world that goes the way it ought to go. Because somewhere along the way, they discovered how it ought to go. Good for them.
All right, Mikey. What else we got on the list?
How do you think about acting?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
That is about acting.
That is
by the
100%.
way.
Yeah.
100% it is.
I think we got time for like 2 more.
Okay.
I'm
What do we
gonna
at?
I'm gonna do
We out
it.
of time?
We're at like 1:30.
Okay, yeah, good. We're in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
This is good.
Sweet.
Cool.
We always say we're gonna do an hour, and then it's like
You never
we just go.
Why you guys just say you're going to do 2?
I don't know. We should just do that now.
restrict.
We're going for 2.
Restrict
Screw it.
ourselves. Yeah, man. No, I like this. I like that it's kind of
Yeah,
free.
yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
Someone just like more, I guess, lighthearted, less introspective and deep. Is there any like role that like, let's say, because you've done so many films, right? You've done
Fair amount. Yeah.
shows, like a lot.
Yep,
You know? A lot of experience. Do you still have something that you feel is like a role that you still haven't, like, do you still have like a dream role? Because I think like,
For sure.
yeah, you know what I mean, that you've never done yet.
Maybe the details that I haven't done yet. I think it's that. I think it's like the details. My favorite thing to act is like mirrors a lot the favorite part of my own experience, which is maybe once you've been captain of your own ship, right? Because you're so brilliant, and then you crash. Favorite part of my life is upon crashing, I wasn't left alone. There was an outstretched hand, and there was a road back to a life apart from the rocks of your own shipwreck, right? So like, I guess you might call that the redemptive drama. Somebody fucking blows it, and then because they blew it, things have to change, but they change in an unsuspected way in terms of the good that will come, right?
Yeah.
All variety of that. So there's like the fucking bank robber version of that. There's like the crooked plastic surgeon version of that. It's like, I don't give a shit what they're wearing. I'd love a version of that on horseback. I'd love a version of that, you know, in the military or a rogue cop or like, I don't care. So long as it's somebody who thought they had the answers, who life humbled them to realize that they didn't know a goddamn thing, and yet they were still loved. Give it to me, I'll do it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
From that, what I get is like, you like knew exactly right away. So I'm gonna give myself some homework.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna like make. I think it's good for viewers too. It's like
Yeah.
just make a list of your favorite things.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
right?
really
Like,
cool. Yeah.
Cause like I never thought about that. If you ask me like what's my favorite food or something, I'm like I don't fucking know, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
Sounds like a journal.
Dude, something Haley and I do sometimes is say, what did you like about today?
Wow. So,
Because it's like gratitude can be a little sophisticated.
Okay.
You know, it can be a little like you switch over into spiritual mode.
yeah.
But if like before I left, I were to say to you like, yo, bro, what did you like about today?
Yeah.
And you were to say, well, I liked that we just picked up right where we left off.
Yeah.
And then I liked when that one song came on,
Yeah.
the dude at the thing, and we got back here and this and that. You know, I liked when you schooled me, you torched me at fucking 2K. I like that Wheezy track. All you're doing is expressing your gratitude, but it's
Yeah.
in like real
Yeah.
workaday terms.
That's
of,
true.
I liked that, you know?
Yeah, man.
So
it's not so introspective. It's
that's
very,
kind of what you're saying too. Like,
what do I like?
what do you like?
For sure.
That's cool.
That's cool little homework to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Giving myself homework now.
That's
Yeah,
great.
dude.
So we're pretty well versed with what we think we hate.
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
I could tell you everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, let's move on. I think this one could be like a little more talking about it.
Okay.
I feel like, and this is kind of like more general, but I feel like maybe you felt some of this too because you've been on TV, you've been on the movie screen, you know, like the sense of like celebrity, and like I even drew like a diagram for this, bro.
Let's see it,
Drew a
dude.
pic-
Hold
it's just
on,
like
let me see it,
it's just
let me
like
see it.
it's just a little Venn diagram, right? It's not that crazy.
Bro, I love a Venn diagram so much.
But basically,
Venn diagram.
basically the way I was thinking about it when I was driving, I was like,
Will they be able
So-
to see this Venn diagram?
I'll make a little graphic.
Do a little insert.
I'll make a graphic.
Okay, humanity, member of society. Then there's a gray area, and then there's celebrity as an adjective, right?
Yeah, so I was gonna
So
think
something apart from just being a
Yeah, so-
functioning member of society.
So I feel like people, like normal people, whatever that means, like people talk about fame and like getting famous, being a celebrity, or
Right.
like, you know, making so much money, then everyone knows me, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I had the idea of thinking of celebrity as like, instead of being like, that's a celebrity, you know, like you're a celebrity. You've been on this, you've been on that.
Right.
You have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Think of it as like an adjective instead. So instead of it being the person, it's kind of part of the way they're viewed.
Gotcha.
You know? And
Gotcha.
the personality that it might not be them, but that's what society gives them as a trait.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, the more you go into that circle,
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, it's kind of like obvious, but you lose a sense of humanity. You know?
Whoa. You think so?
When being viewed by like society.
For sure.
You know?
For
Because
sure.
like because I heard about you, you know what I mean? And you've been in all these things, and like, it's like you're the first kind of like celebrity, like person that's been in stuff, you know, that's here.
Right.
And that I've kind of met, you know,
Right.
and talked to,
Right.
and just having normal stuff. It's like, and people always say this, like, oh, it's like they meet a celebrity, like, oh, they're just normal. They're like normal people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I think it's interesting that there's like also, let's say like famous actors and stuff. I feel like Shia LaBeouf's kind of like that. Where
Shout out
Shia, if
Shia
you're listening.
LaBeouf.
But like
Such a hard dick for Shia on this show, dude.
Dude.
It's like
that's your that's your inspo.
What the fuck,
That's
dude?
your inspo, bro.
That's my guy, bro.
That's
I
your
know.
inspo.
That's love. That's not.
After watching Charlie Countryman, I was like, dude, that's your whole thing.
Now that scares me now. We're going back to fucking
Yeah, dude.
Are we taking from territory? You know what I mean? Which is scary.
No, I think with that's the other way around. You went, that's how I feel.
Absolutely.
Like, and that's you know, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like I saw him, like he's obviously, millions, killing it. All this stuff. He's got this status. Everyone knows Shia LaBeouf. You know what I mean? But like he's not in the news or like in you don't see him all the time. There's not like paparazzi's like killing him, going around. It's like I saw pictures of him and he was out, and like there's just pictures of him and his mom, and he's like out there holding hands with his mom, like walking around. It's like he's, I feel like, in this gray area that's in between.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then there's the other side where like those are the people that are kind of like you don't see their lives.
Okay.
And they're still this like individual to themselves. They don't have that pressure around. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like the more famous you get, you kind of lose that humanity.
How you feel about that?
I don't know where I'm going, but like I don't know. I had this thought
I got you.
where like I feel like we're trying to get into that gray area. With success. You know what I mean?
Dude, like success to me would be like I'm able to tell stories for a living while like keeping anonymity and making enough money to survive and like do well.
Yeah. Because like the more and more I hear is like when people start getting into that celebrity like part of life, or like they start getting there, it's like there's a lot more risk in everything happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That could like take you down, and you hear a lot of stories like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't know. I just had the weird thought of that.
Yeah.
And there's also pros and cons, to both sides.
Shit.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I get. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I think like I said before, I just if that's the fucking listen, that's the game you play. I feel like if I want to do this, and if I can't get a career that's like I get to be under the radar, make the movies I want to make, like tell the stories I want to tell, and I can't be anonymous, like that's the game we play, unfortunately. And I think you have a choice.
It's up to you, right?
I think so, man. I think you have, I could be totally fucking wrong. Because I don't know shit. I haven't seen it. I haven't experienced it. But I feel like you could go to press and you could like wait for somebody to show up with a camera and like try to become that person who is, on magazine covers and, doing interviews all the time and shit like that. I think there's a ton of people that do very well doing the thing they like to do, which is in the entertainment industry, whatever media. And they don't deal with that shit because they don't want to. I don't know. But I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, man.
I guess that adjective you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of a verdict, meaning no one can appoint that term to themselves and have it approximate what it means to anybody else. Agree?
Yeah.
Say that one more time.
It's the verdict of other people.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So if that's how it starts, other people saying this is you, right?
Right.
And you take it from the adjective station, let's say. I'm trying to use that adjective station as a metric for watching where things could go.
Yeah.
And it goes from the verdict of others that describes you to them, to your sense of yourself. Anytime I've been close enough to witness that, or anytime I've read about it, incomprehensible disaster ensues. Then you've got Audrey Hepburn. Like, not many people would argue about her status, not just as celebrity, but an icon of the 20th century, right? Who opted to, way early in her career, put her attention on other things. And in the midst of her career, that began like her first speaking part ever was the lead of a Broadway show. That she got whisked away to be the lead of a William Wyler movie and like whisked away to this. And so it was like Tony nomination, Oscar nomination, maybe a win. From moment one, icon, who still found a way to have a private, useful, uncorrupted life. So I think that speaks not to the power of what others can do in terms of their influence on a celebrity, but what one allows that to mean to themselves. Yep. She didn't buy it.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And in fact, at some point she went, this has been a blast. My feeding children and making sure diseases are cured amongst the sick and impoverished work needs all of my attention now. Farewell. And there wasn't a camera crew everywhere she went. Yeah. Again, she lives in a different time, right? Where not everyone has a camera. But I think that there is a degree of celebrity being a choice. And what I'm certain of is I've never been so near to it in my own experience that it's been a choice for me. I don't look at myself that way. I don't think many people, I don't know what other people would think, but I've never had the sense of if I wanted to, I could really take that adjective and expand it.
Got you. Cool.
Yeah.
But if an icon can live usefully, peaceably, and without like the kind of interference that would make her lose her mind, that's a pretty good case for it being a choice, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would highly suggest studying the life of Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, I want to look into it.
What a cool gal, man.
Yeah.
Really, really, like about as successful as you could be, clearly gifted and talented. It has an impeccable life that still suggests like she had her own struggles and, you know, she wasn't just perfect, but like seemed to have navigated those waters about as well as anybody could, man.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
These are like the people, if when I was young, like the rebel was the object of my adoration or adulation at the time, the people that have my attention now, I think, are Bryan Cranston and Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey.
Like,
Yeah.
Love it. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dude. What else you got from Mikey? Anything?
What about you, dude? What's going on with you?
What's going on with me?
Yeah. How about we usually do this in the beginning? How was your week, dude?
It's been wild, man. It's been crazy. Yeah. I feel like I'm very overwhelmed with a lot of things. But like, I'm also very grateful at the same time. So I feel like I'm kind of whiny and I'm a little sick. Sorry for the nose and nasally voice. Whoever's listening, that's got to be annoying. Yeah, man, I just feel fucking swamped, but also there's a ton of gratitude on the other side of that. I like that I'm swamped. I'm not making any fucking money right now.
Yeah.
Like doing the things that I'm swamped with.
Go pick up some shifts, bro.
Yeah. Why fucking serve some coffee.
Your assignment for the week.
Yeah. And so it's been a balancing act. And it's just been a trying time.
Hell yeah.
It's been a trying time.
You know what's going to make you feel better?
What's that?
At this podcast, this one right now, I have gifts
Oh, what? Shit.
to both of you guys.
No way. No way.
So check it out.
No way. What's up?
I got a little something.
What's up, Mikey?
Got a little something.
Wait a second. You dye your hair? Stop it.
Word.
Boom. Show the camera that.
Oh.
What up?
Look at that.
No way.
So that's for you.
Dude.
Wow, man.
And that's for
Going
you.
for
Thank you,
G2?
sir.
And
We got
another
merch.
shirt right here.
Beautiful.
Dude,
It's a little test right here.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
my boy.
What's up?
Dude, thank you,
What's
bro.
up?
Look at that.
Got some merch.
The You Are Here is a little location.
You remember that
don't
shit from the mall?
Yeah.
that's where the directory fucking You Are
Yeah.
Here.
That's where we got it.
That's where we got this movie.
Really?
Yeah, that's the hope. That when I said You Are Here to him, I was like, it's all about just being in the present. I just want to share moments with
Yeah.
you. So we are here right now. the You Are Here podcast. This
It
is
does
episode.
feel like this is where we were.
Well, we are,
That's where we are.
and now it comes to a close. And this is the sad part.
What's that?
Well, I don't like the end of things. I enjoy moments so much because they're ending.
Yeah, right.
We could talk about this for. You guys want to talk for another hour? I'm just kidding.
Fucking do whatever.
No,
dude.
no, no. I'll wrap it up. But I'm just saying, like, the finality of things scares the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this moment that we got to share.
No, you hang up.
1000%. And I love you before I hang up because I don't know if I'll ever see you again.
Right. Yeah, I
Stupid.
had that with my parents as a kid.
Yeah.
I would sometimes if I was like in the shitter or something and they drove off and I got out, I would rush out front to see if I could flag them down and be like, "I love you. Now you can go die."
Yeah.
Like,
Oh no.
dead ass, dude. I'm
Now
not
you
kidding.
can
Like,
die. But I said it. I have closure.
got it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing about moments, man. This is what I'm going to go back to real quick. They begin, we get to experience them for whatever they are, and they end. And that's the beautiful part of it, I think, is that they do end. So this is the end of
This is the
episode
end,
8
dude.
with Jim Parrack as our guest. Thank you for coming on, Jim Parrack.
Thanks for having me,
so
gang.
much. Appreciate it.
Thank
Sweet.
you. Thank you.
Guys, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube. We got the video on there. Yeah. So, guys, this is Mike. I'm signing out.
Hey, this is Dave, and I love y'all.
I'm just glad to be here.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, brother.
There you
Thank you
go.
for this.
Cool.
Oh,
That's it.
shit.
That was great, man.
Thank you, bro.
It was so fun.
You had fun?
Yeah.
Got to talk that shit.
These are good conversations.
Oh, yeah.